Okay, so we covered this a little bit in the Zoom meeting, talking about simple colors, animating textures. A lot of you probably have buttons or different little alarms that may go off. I know some people have buttons that may want to turn different colors. You can actually keyframe these in. If you look at my hypershader on this one, I have the color red, but if you scroll through the timeline here, it changes blue, like that. You can see the keyframes down here. I'm going to delete those. So say we got this color right here, and you say you're going to work over in here. I'll show you the difference between working here. You want this thing from go to green to red, just some stoplights or something like that. It's red. The way you set keys with this is basically you can't really just press S. Now I'm keying the actual box itself. I'm not wanting to do all that. So the best thing to do is to either have your texture selected. You can press S then. You can actually select the node here. Now it's keyframed everything basically right here. All this colors, and I don't really want that either. So the best thing to do is just to click right there on the actual attribute itself, set key. So now I just have the RGB. Say I want to turn it to blue. Kind of a slow gradual turn to blue, and I'm on auto key, but I would have had to set key. Now I've got like a slow turn to blue. You can do that out here, but if you don't have the actual node selected, you won't be able to see your keyframe over here. It's right there, turn blue. So if you want to turn it yellow right here, right click, set key. It's going, but you can't see it. It's going to work. But the downfall about not selecting your node, you don't know what frame it is on or where. Now you can kind of have a graph of everything. Go to your graph editor, your color, your blend selected. These are your keyframe graphs. Say if you wanted to just the timing of the light, or if you wanted to make it offset, post infinity cycle with offset. It kind of oscillates through the whole thing basically, kind of like we do with the walk cycle. And you can do that with noises and stuff like that. Let me throw one there. Cycle with offset. Well, let me get another one. Start over on this one. So basically I have a blend 3 here, and I'm going to put a noise to it. I just kind of want to animate the texture, basically kind of moving around a little bit. Let's go to this noise here. I want to animate that. Blend 3. I like that texture right there. That was in my frequency. Set key. Go in time a little bit. Kind of crank it up some more. I can set key again. So now you can kind of move it to where you want to. So just between this one right here, this is basically kind of like a little psychedelic one we talked about. It kind of just constantly goes with the timeline itself. There's actually no keyframes on it. There's basically an expression on it. And I will link the tutorial to this guy's little math tutorial. It's pretty easy to listen to. He talks about adding math equations to these noise in the 2D. So say like you've got a grid here, and it just kind of constantly moves. You can add like say equals time to like the noise attributes of the 2D texture itself. Come on, dude. It just kind of slowly moves. That's basically what I did right here to this right here, this box here. So this is my noise that I've derived. I went to my noise right there in my texture 2D, and I just typed in time. We'll do it again. Or actually, if I just if I right click and delete the expression, now it's going back to nothing basically. It's found my texture. But if you go and you hit time here, your noise equals time, and mess with your offsets up here, kind of give it a little texture difference basically. Now let's hit play, see what happens. A little white noise kind of going on there. And what he did it with the grid. So if I were to add a grid to it, kind of change the offset of it. Now let's press something at a time here, see what happens. That simply moves it basically around. The offset's what caused the grid to basically kind of make these little squigglies. And the time is basically controlling the constant moving down the timeline. Very cool. So yeah, experiment with expressions in your textures, just plain textures basically, or just switch these things colors just remember you need to be right there on the actual attribute itself and set the key. Like that right there. It's on the offset still, so it's running, but yeah, that's animating textures. You can get really crazy with this. I'm going to go over in the other one kind of how to bring in an image sequences and kind of play movies on these things. And that is how I set up for kind of like that little robot I had in the Zoom meeting where it was smiling and then he was frowning. Using those image sequences to basically, and using set driven keys basically to switch between those images on certain certain things you've got textured though. Right, for instance this right here. This plane has an attribute that I can middle mouse key and scroll, calm, sad, and I can keyframe those. This is just 3 images. Okay, but I'll go over that next one. Okay.